I'm going to
There
introduce
you
you.
go.
There you go. Thank you for saying that, because I didn't even know my camera was turned off. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Today is day 5 of Main Street Vegan Academy Week, where we are featuring the wonderful graduates of Main Street Vegan Academy. What is Main Street Vegan Academy, you ask? Well, why don't I just introduce you to the founder, and she can tell you, as well as introduce today's guest, who's going to be doing an amazing recipe. It's a tofu scramble, but it's much more, because she's going to turn it into fried rice. Please welcome Victoria Moran.
Hey everybody, and thank you, Chef AJ. Thank you so much for featuring Main Street Vegan Academy. Main Street Vegan Academy is the result of an inspiration. So I'm big on inspiration. If you get one of those, follow through, because it's for you to do. I wrote a book in 2012 called Main Street Vegan, and once the publisher said, okay, this is your title, you can call it Main Street Vegan, all these ideas started popping, one of which was Main Street Vegan Academy, training and certifying vegan lifestyle coaches and educators. So we started doing that live and in person in New York City back in 2012. But now with the pandemic, we are also live on Zoom. And you know what? It is almost as magical as coming to New York City and doing field trips and meeting our wonderful faculty in person. So our faculty members include medical doctors such as Dr. Robert Ostfeld, Dr. Milton Mills, registered dietitians. Marty Davy is a regular for us, and we've also had Juliana Hever and others. And then in the other aspects of the vegan world, we've had the wonderful chef that we talked about the other day, Fran Costigan, who teaches us how to do a food demo. We've got David Benzequin, who's big on vegan business and helps solopreneurs and entrepreneurs figure out where they're going to put themselves. So this means people come through the academy, and then many go on to coach and do podcasts and write books, some from major publishers. But other people have that entrepreneurial gene, and so they start businesses like a bodega or a cowboy boot company or a cheese and yogurt company or an ice cream company in Mexico City, all very vegan. So one thing we're very proud of is that when we are talking about health and nutrition, we talk about the real thing. It would be Chef AJ approved all the way. And one of our really healthy living instructors and one of our graduates who's doing so much both in the world of cuisine and in the world of health is Naomi Green. I'm so proud of her because she came to us in 2016, just 2 years past cancer treatment, as a wonderful, energetic cancer survivor, overcomer, thriver, who contributes to being vegan and healthy plant-based and yoga and exercise, and her fabulous adventurous personality, her ongoing recovery and terrific vitality and health. So Naomi is based in the Tampa Bay area in sunny Florida. And in addition to being a Main Street Vegan certified vegan lifestyle coach and educator, she is also certified in plant-based nutrition from the T. Colin Campbell E. Cornell program. And she specializes in helping people go vegan to get serious about weight loss and measurable health results. So she sees private clients. She runs an insanely successful 12-week online plant power weight loss and health transformation programs and groups, as well as the Plant Power Preppers live cooking membership, a nationwide vegan awakening cooking and adventure retreats. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. And you know, if you need another Facebook group, try this one, Plant Empowered Woman. I could go on, but let's make some tofu scramble. Welcome, Naomi Green.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And what I want to say about Mainstream Vegan Academy is that attending that academy changed my life. And the one thing that you said during that academy, Victoria, was wow them with the food. And I took that to heart, and I didn't know how I was going to do that because I'm not a chef, and I had no idea how I was going to do that. And that actually became a cornerstone of my coaching, because I feel like if it's not delicious, nobody's going to stick to this way of life. Nobody's going to get the health results. Nobody's going to save the animals. And so I have made it my mission that when I'm coaching clients that I teach them how to make things delicious. So herewith is this magical tofu scramble, and I am going to show you how to turn it into fried rice. And the reason that we're doing two things out of one is because another cornerstone of my coaching is that I think that it should be easy. We should have an ease and a flow with what we're doing in our life. And so if we're going to stand here chopping all these things, then it should be a beautiful big batch of the food, and it should serve double duty. And we should have several batches come out of it, different ways to eat it. So that's why I want to teach you that today. And Chef AJ, thank you so much for the introduction. I have been a huge fan of yours, so this is a dream come true for me. So thank you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah. So, I am going to show you my secret way of dealing with the tofu, but first we're going to get the veggies in the pan sauteing. So that is a square box, this shape of mushrooms. I have already cut mine. You always want to make sure that you wash off your mushrooms with a dry paper towel to get the dirt off. And I'm just gonna,
yeah. If you buy the mushrooms chopped, do you assume somebody already cleaned them, or how do you clean the chopped ones?
I assume somebody already cleaned them. What do you do?
Well, I rinse them off and hope for the best, but I know rinsing doesn't really get that mushroom gunk off.
No, so maybe that's why I buy, the ones that are whole, and I wipe them off myself. I like these Baby Bella ones. They really taste good. So, so it's that one box of chopped mushrooms. It's one chopped tomato. I'm going to show you how I very quickly chop up my onions with this nifty device. Boom, 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 boom.
Wait a second, safety first. You're using a mandolin and you're not using a glove. You cannot work in my kitchen.
I just did it. It's done.
Wow. Hey, Nanette says, Chef AJ, I love your shows. I love you, Naomi Green, my health coach, my friend.
Oh, Nan is here. Yay. I'm so excited. That's so nice. This is the guard that goes with that, but if you don't go all the way down to the bottom, then you don't really need it. So if I have this big giant pepper, I can just do this. And I'm going to show it up to the camera to show you how nicely it chops. And this is one of those devices that does not come apart, so it doesn't have all of those scary blades. And I just turn it around like that. All right. So that makes quick work of the chopping. I'm going to bring it up to show you.
Uh-oh.
Real life cooking. There it is. And so see how that is? Just like that. So then we're going to come and get all of that right in the pan. And here's the thing about this recipe. If you drop your mushrooms all over the floor, it does not matter. I still have a bunch of mushrooms in my pan. I still have a bunch of mushrooms right here. So that means that if you didn't have a whole box of mushrooms, that's fine. This recipe still works. So I'm glad that you got to see that firsthand. Because like Victoria said, I run the Plant Power Preppers Club, and we do real live cooking with a whole group of 20 or 30 women, whoever shows up. And these real life kitchen snafus happen. And I want you to know, and I want people to know that when I'm coaching them and I'm teaching cooking, I'm a real woman and I drop my things and that kind of stuff happens. So you can see here that I still have lots of my mushrooms. So we are going to go ahead and let that saute down a little bit. I have my pan set on medium, just about in between 4 and 5. And you might be wondering, like, where's the oil? Well, you wouldn't be, but some people watching might be wondering, where's the oil? And of course, I follow a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of cooking. And so when you cook with mushrooms, they release their own liquid. So does the tomatoes, so does the peppers, so does the onions. And so in this way, we really don't need any liquid. However, if things start to stick, I have some homemade veggie broth that I have right here, and we'll use that. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. And while that is cooking down, starting to sizzle, I'm gonna show you my secret way that I do the tofu, okay? So first we gotta get it open, which I use a regular knife to do. Victoria, do you have a better way to open the tofu box?
I open it just the way you do.
I think she might be muted.
Oh, okay. So I just do it like that. It's loaded with water. So we dump out the water into the sink. Now, usually you have to use a tofu press or some kind of way to get the water out, right? But I learned from Colleen Patrick Goudreau, her special technique, which is when you get this home from the store, you immediately stick it right into the freezer, right? You stick it right into the freezer, sealed up, and then you let it defrost on the counter overnight when you know you're going to use it the next day. And in this way, you can just squeeze the water right out. It makes the tofu denser, and it allows you to release the water. Now, you can't take regular tofu and squeeze it like this and have it release all its water. So that's why I love this way of doing it. And so you just gently go around and around, kind of like a sponge. It feels like a sponge. You want to get all that water out, because tofu water does not taste delicious, but the spices and the seasonings that we're going to put in do taste delicious. So now you'll notice it's still in a nice brick. It's still in a nice square. I'm not going to like squeeze it and do anything like that, especially if you want to cut it into cubes. You do it carefully. And you just keep squeezing until no more comes out, and then you're done. So you don't have to wait 30 minutes, you know, with a heavy pan. You don't have to use a tofu press. And that's that.
Naomi, can I ask a question about the pan you're sauteing in?
Huh?
Can I ask a question about the pan in which you are sauteing?
Please do.
Is that nonstick? And if so, particularly as someone who is living cancer-free, do you have opinions on nonstick surfaces?
I definitely do. First, I just want to show you all the liquid from the tofu. So that you just discard. I definitely do. And I'm also just going to just press out all the water. And now we're dry, completely dry. So, I definitely do not use nonstick cookware that's coated with any kind of chemicals, the black kind, any of those. This is a ceramic coated pan. This is made by Lodge. It's kind of like the knockoff of a Le Creuset type of ceramic coated pan. So that's what this is. So it has no chemicals, and it is slick on its surface. So you can see that everything slides around in there really easily. Does that answer your question?
It does indeed. Thank you.
Yeah. So I love answering questions like that because, you know, before I had cancer, I thought I was living a healthy lifestyle. And I thought I was eating properly, and I shopped at Whole Foods, and I bought organic, and I knew about kale and acai berries. And so when I felt that lump, I didn't think that it was anything to be concerned about. I went to the doctor. I thought maybe it was like a fibroid. I had had one of those before. And so, so when that doctor called me and she said, you have stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma, I said, what? And she said, you have stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma. And I said, what are you saying to me? I don't even know the words. And she screamed at me. She was like, you have breast cancer. You need to come into the office. And I was like, no. That can't be right. And she was like, you have breast cancer. You need to come in. And so I went in there and they told me I needed to remove my breasts. I needed to do chemotherapy. I needed to do radiation. And I did all the things they told me to do because I didn't know any better. And even with what I know now, I don't know that I would have done anything different. So however it happened, it happened. But when I went back and I was all done with all of that treatment, I went for the final appointment after the chemo and the radiation. I was all burnt up and everything. And I went back there and she said to me, you're cancer free for now. We'll check your blood every 3 months and we'll let you know when the cancer comes back. And I was like, what are you talking about? The cancer comes back. She said, well, you had positive lymph nodes. It was, an invasive ductal carcinoma. It was stage 2, grade 3. It could come back. And she shook these pills at me, the tamoxifen she wanted me to take. And I said to her, you got to be kidding. And she told me to take these pills. So I decided, so because I knew about kale and acai berries, I decided that there must be something about the food that I don't know about, that maybe there's something I could eat that will keep the cancer away or something that I shouldn't eat that causes cancer. And, so I decided to ask her that on my next visit. I took the pills, by the way, and the pills feel terrible. They hurt so bad because you know what they do is they remove a woman's estrogen. And I was premenopausal. And that hurts so bad. I can't tell you how bad that hurt. I was desperate. And so I went back there and I asked her and I was like, come on, I know there's something about the food. Tell me what to eat. And she looked me right in the eye and she said, it doesn't matter what you eat. It does not matter what you eat, that, cancer comes back. And if it comes back, that's all. The biggest way to reduce recurrence is to take these pills. And I was so pissed. I swung my hair and stomped out of there. And I went home and I started Google searching, nutrition and cancer and food. And I came across the documentary Forks Over Knives. And anybody who has seen that documentary probably knows what I'm about to say next. And if you haven't seen that documentary and you are watching this live stream and you suffer as a cancer survivor, a cancer patient, if you are obese, have heart disease or diabetes or any of those kinds of issues, then that documentary is for you. And I heard Dr. T. Colin Campbell describing his, 30-year research on animal proteins. And he says, we found that eating animal protein turns cancer cells on and not eating animal protein turns cancer cells off. And I thought, that's the secret for me. And so that's how this whole thing got started for me. I ran to the refrigerator. I threw everything away. My husband was like, what are you doing? And that's how I got started. But what drove me to the Main Street Vegan Academy is that the rest of that documentary describes how the same animal foods are responsible for the epidemics of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease we have in this country today. And I thought, I have got to tell people this thing. And that's what going to Main Street Vegan Academy allowed me to do. It gave me more conviction as I learned about the environmental aspects of the agriculture industry, and I learned about the lives of the animals themselves. And I just became so invested in spreading this message. And so that's mainly why I'm here today. And that is my story of how I got started this way.
That's fantastic.
And by the way, I also lost more than 40 pounds and have kept it off since that time. Because when you go through cancer chemotherapy, don't you know that not only they take your breasts away, but that chemotherapy causes weight gain. So I gained an additional 15 pounds on top of already being overweight that way. So the fact that this allowed me to like leave my binge eating, leave my dieting, leave all those worries in the past has been one of the greatest freedoms of my life, which I know, Chef AJ, you can probably relate to that. All right.
Absolutely.
So you let me know if anybody has any questions about anything that we're talking about here.
Let me see. A lot of comments. They're asking about acai berry. Oh, that looks beautiful.
Yeah. So now I am going to add just a tablespoon of this veggie broth so that while we're crumbling in the tofu, nothing is sticking. I turned my heat down just like a tad. See, just a tablespoon or a little bit more, because we don't want to boil our vegetables because that would not be tasty. Okay, so here's the fun part. Here's what we do. You just crumble it into the pan. So this is like a one pot thing here, and it makes these two dishes. So you can already notice that it is already looking like scrambles, like a scrambled egg sort of consistency. So you just crumble it up. It's easy, it comes right apart. And then we're gonna put all of these beautiful spices on top of this. So was somebody asking about acai berries? Is that what you said?
Yeah, what they were and where to get them.
Acai berries, you can get them frozen at Whole Foods. It's part of the whole Whole Foods that I used to shop at Whole Foods. And interestingly enough, I don't shop at Whole Foods anymore because I don't live near one. And it's not necessary to shop at Whole Foods to follow a whole food plant-based way of eating. But acai berries you can get in the frozen department of a health food store or a store like Whole Foods. I don't think they really have them at the regular grocery store. So here's what this looks like now. You can see that I've crumbled it up into like these little bits. You see that? And now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put all of these beautiful spices on. Now, you might say, wow, that is a gigantic spice list. However, if you don't have half of them, it's still fine, okay? Just like if you didn't have all the mushrooms or you didn't have a pepper, this recipe would still be fine. So I'm gonna give it to you with all the things. And the one that is really the most important is this turmeric, because this is where it gets its beautiful yellow color. So half a teaspoon of turmeric, and do not put more than half a teaspoon. And the reason is because turmeric is a little bit bitter and you just don't need any more. So let's just go all the way through and you'll see the color turn that beautiful yellow.
How do you pronounce it? Because we had a whole debate yesterday. Is it turmeric, turmeric? Do you pronounce the R? We had a whole thing yesterday. Just curious.
I pronounce it turmeric. I could be wrong. I mean, I could be so wrong.
Well, I say turmeric, and I'm going to look it up.
Look it up.
Google will know.
Google will know is right. So now we're going to put in half a teaspoon of curry powder, and that also has a little bit more of the turmeric in it. But I love curry. And if you do not love Indian spices, leave this curry out. You can just leave it out. Okay, we're going to put half a teaspoon of onion powder. We're going to put half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, which is one of my favorite all-time spices. I absolutely love it.
Okay, spice pronunciation alert. Turmeric.
Nice.
You can hear the man say it.
Turmeric.
Did you hear that?
Turmeric.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Okay, now we all know.
Turmeric. Thank you. I was saying it like wrong the whole entire time.
Well, the other one is cumin and cumin,
That's true too.
and it is cumin.
No.
It's cumin?
You're
It's not-
kidding.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Everybody
What?
says cumin.
What else am I saying wrong? Jeez. Okay, half a teaspoon of garam masala. So again, if you do not like all these Indian spices, you can just make this with onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and paprika. You could just do very, very simple for simple tastes. Okay.
You
Half
want
a
the
teaspoon.
pronunciation? The UK pronunciation is cumin, where the US version is cumin.
Wow.
But it's not
We all
cumin.
say cumin.
I've never heard anybody say coming, like coming to get you. Let's come.
That-
Coming.
I have heard that. Well, you know what happens when you go with what you hear, you can hear all kinds of things.
That's funny.
Maybe that's true. So half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon of black pepper, and then 1 teaspoon of garlic.
And garlic is always pronounced properly. Ladies, I need to go. I'll watch the rest of this later. Thanks again, and have fun and happy eating.
Great. We'll
Thank
see you
you,
tomorrow,
Victoria.
Victoria.
Okay, now, who here likes it spicy? Let me know in the comments. Let Chef AJ know in the comments if you like it hot, hot, hot.
Yeah, let me know.
I'm gonna go ahead and put some cayenne in here, a very little bit, just a smidge, just an eighth, that's it. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. All right, now here's where the magic happens with the color, okay? So, what we do here is we start adding a little bit of liquids here so that we can mix this around and incorporate it all. So I'm gonna start with 2 tablespoons, maybe more. Yes, more, you just feel it out. I'm gonna put 4 of veggie broth. And then we're gonna use some tamari. Same thing, 2 tablespoons we're gonna start with. And now we can scramble it up. And I'll bring the pan over to show you the yellow. So it's those liquids that that incorporate the spices and really bring out the yellow. It's really pretty and it really smells so amazing. Okay.
Talk about what you like to eat for a day's worth of eating.
I will. So there is what that looks like, and I'll talk about that as soon as, let's just get the spinach on. So it calls for 2 or 3 cups of spinach leaves, so that's as much as you want. And if you don't want bigger leaves of spinach, you can of course chop them. I like a lot of spinach. So I'm gonna put that right on top. And I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of tamari on top of that, or you could put the veggie broth, and I'm gonna put the cover on. And that's down on low at like around 3. So you wanna know what I eat in a day, huh?
I certainly do. Everybody seems to want to know what every guest eats every day and what they do for exercise.
All right, I'll tell you both. So I start my day with tea. I drink a decaffeinated, well, sometimes I drink a decaffeinated tea, an herbal tea, and sometimes I drink black tea, like breakfast tea or a chai tea. And then I have a big bowl of fruit. And then I go on a big walk with my dogs in the woods with my husband. And then after that, I might have some oatmeal, or I might have a potato hash if I have some left over, or I might have some of this veggie scramble because it's going to be in the fridge tomorrow. This makes such a big batch that you can keep it in the fridge. And not only that, you could keep it in the freezer and have it next Tuesday for breakfast. So I might have something like that. Then for lunch, I very often have some sort of a soup that is left over from another day. Currently I have minestrone in the, and I have some farro that I like to put in. Another thing I like to do, I would say 4 times a week, is I make ginormous salads with grains and beans. If you have ever coached with me, you know my signature chopped salads are a cornerstone of the coaching that I do and the life that I live myself. So I make these ginormous salads with everything that I have in the fridge. And I usually use some sort of iteration of a 3-2-1 dressing on that. Unless I'm doing something with peanut sauce and zoodles, in which case I'll do a tahini or a peanut butter sauce. And then for dinner, very often I will have some sort of a soup or a stew, or some sort of a pasta, or some sort of a veggies and rice, or rice and beans. So those are my go-tos. That's basically how I handle it. And that's the type of exercise that I do every single day. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, and of course, I learned about eating potatoes and veggies for breakfast from you.
Nice, thank you.
Of course. All right. So now I'm checking on my scramble. I'm going to turn over the scramble on top of the spinach. And we're going to let that go for another second. I'm going to turn up the heat just a tad. Okay, is anybody asking any other questions in the chat?
Let me see. Hello.
And I drink water.
Yeah, here's
Water,
a question.
water. What?
Ronnie says, but what if we can't have tofu? Because I am allergic to soy and I can't have tofu. So do you have a suggestion for something else?
I certainly do. I make this same scramble with baked potatoes. So I always have baked potatoes. And if you slice those up, it's on my website. It's called Veggie Loaded Potato Scramble. If you slice up, cold baked potatoes, you can put those in with all of these same veggies, same spices, and make this same beautiful scramble. But also, have you heard of pumfu?
Yes, actually, pumfu and hemp fu. I haven't tried it yet because I don't know who sells it, but I've heard that they make tofu now out of hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds.
Although the one thing about it that I did notice, because I sort of looked up the ingredients, it's very high in fat. So I would not eat pumfu. I wouldn't purposely eat it. It's way higher in fat than regular tofu, I think.
And that's probably because the product that it's made from is higher in fat. Seeds are higher in fat than soy. That's probably why, I'm guessing.
And same with hemp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. They're asking the chopper, what's the name of the chopper you use?
That chopper is called the Xylus 2-in-1 chopper. And it is a very inexpensive tool available on Amazon.
Yeah. Most of the people it's funny, you asked about that, they're like spicy. And so we've got it all: spicy, no spicy, and medium.
Well, I know a couple of the people in my Plant Power Preppers Club, 2 ladies in particular, they do not like any spicy at all. And so whenever we're cooking, I'm always like, and for Linda, cut the spice in quarters,
So that's the thing, and you made a good point. And this is that they teach you this in culinary school. You can always add, whether it's salt or sugar or whatever, you can always add it to the table. You cannot take it out once it's in there.
Exactly. That's my whole point. So look at this tofu scramble. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous, everybody? So now this is a ginormous amount of tofu scramble, right? And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the magic of turning it into fried rice. But first, I'm going to take half of it out. I'm going to save it for having tofu scramble later and tomorrow. So I'm going to take half of this out. And again, you don't have to really measure. You can just eyeball it.
Naomi, Angela says, do you consume apple cider vinegar for cancer prevention? I've never actually heard of that.
No, I consume it for its good taste, but I don't do that for cancer prevention. I'll tell you what I do for cancer prevention is a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating, maintaining my weight on the lower end of the normal weight range, exercising every day, working on negative emotions. That's what I do for reducing cancer recurrence. And with the most powerful one being the whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating. So you see, here's my giant thing of tofu scramble. I'm going to put this away. And now I'm going to show you the magic of how to turn this into fried rice. It's going to be so pretty. So here's what we've got left in our pan. We've got this left. You'll see that nothing is burning still. And if anything was sticking, you just add another tad bit of your liquids. But here's what we're going to do. So like I said before, always make double batches of things. So here's my double batch of brown rice in the Instant Pot. Here's that. So you can see how beautiful this comes out every single time, right? Every time. Double batch it. Don't put things in the Instant Pot if you're not double batching it. Don't waste your time cooking if you have nothing left over afterwards. That's the way I do it. So for this magic to happen, what you're going to do is into the same pan that you were just cooking in that contains the other half of your tofu scramble, you are going to put 3 cups of brown rice. Now, you can always put more rice than that if that's the way you like it. Or if you like it with more veggies and less rice, you can do that too. It's up to you. Now, you see what I have here is a whole nother batch of rice. So if I want to have rice and beans later, I'm ready. If I want to make jackfruit jambalaya and I need 3 more cups of rice, I'm ready. And this rice can be kept in the freezer indefinitely. It's delicious. So that's that. So you'll see that in this one episode of cooking, I've made a lot of different kinds of foods. So we've got our 3 cups of rice in there, and now we're going to add, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just don't, the questions for me, we go really fast and I don't want to miss them. Darlene says, could you use kala namak black salt in a dish to make it taste more like eggs? And Marcy says, did you consume a lot of dairy products prior to getting breast cancer?
So the first question, the black salt, is yes. If you like that more sulfuric taste of eggs, you can go ahead and use a small amount of that in your tofu scramble. And to the second question, I did not eat a lot of dairy. I already had fed my kids and fed my family rice milk. So I ate cheese, I ate eggs, I ate chicken. And like I said before, I thought I was living a healthy lifestyle, and that turned out not to be true. So I hope that answers that question. Anything else? What else?
That's it so far. I'll keep looking.
Okay. So now we're going to add this cup of frozen mixed veggies. And I love the one with the corn and all the mixed veggies. But if you don't like string beans or whatever, you can just add peas. You can just add corn. You can just add whatever you want. Right? Okay. So what else are we adding into this? Half a cup of green shredded cabbage. So I like it to be easy. I've got the bag of already prepared chopped cabbage. So I can just go ahead and add my 1/2 cup of shredded cabbage, and that gives it some nice crunch, lots of antioxidants, gives it some good texture. And what else? 1/2 cup of chopped scallions. So that's these, right? We always want to pull off the bottom of it. You always want to pull off the bottom, and you can save it for growing it, or what I do is I save them and dry them so that when I make scallion soup, which is another one of my recipes, it's called Green Goddess Slurpee Soup. I use all of the scallion bottoms. And so you're just gonna cut that up. And I've cut up a whole bunch of them because I love scallions. Okay, and the other thing is I use these bendy boards like this so that I can carry things right into my pot, which totally backfired when I was trying to show you the mushrooms, but whatever. Okay. So now we're going to do, again, similar seasonings. We're going to go 2 more tablespoons with the tamari.
Georgia wants to know how long you have been cancer-free.
I've been cancer-free for 6 years.
Woohoo! Congratulations. Shane wants to know what you've been drinking.
That's what I was saying before. I only drink water or the herbal tea or black tea or green tea that I discussed before. Now, what do I put in my water? That's just fruit. This is real vitamin water. And so these are frozen fruits I put in my water. And I picture this water going through my body and cleansing all my cells and replenishing me. And that's how I do my water.
Right. And Gina says, what is the Plant Prepped Club and can anyone join?
Anyone can join the Plant Power Preppers Club. It is a monthly membership cooking club, and we cook live together 3 times a month. And you can reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, or if I can go into the comments here later, I can give you the link to check it out. Very fun. All right, wait till you see this right here. So I forgot something, didn't I? Did I do 2 of these? Did anybody watch me and know if I did 2?
Oh, that's funny.
When we do the live cooking, some of the ladies have to keep me in line. They'll have the recipe and they'll be like, you forgot the thing. And thank God that they do. All right, so here we go with the 2 tablespoons of veggie broth. And again, if you feel that it's, sticking, so this is the part where the fried rice happens. And so a little tiny bit of sticking is good because there's a lot of flavor in that, but not anything that is burning. So you see how I'm incorporating it and I'm turning it over and over. And at the very end, and another Naomi says, yes, you did. And Roxanne, Linda, so we have people paying attention. Thank you, my ladies. Is that my Linda, the one who keeps me in line? Linda Jewell? No, Linda Combs. Nope, this is with a Juhl. Kathleen says, oh, that looks beautiful. There it is. It's done. And I will go ahead and eat this for dinner. This is delicious. I'm going to eat it for lunch right when we're done here. But it's done. I'm off. Wow. That's it. Kathleen says, what do you do to help offset the negative emotions that you mentioned? So what I do to offset negative emotions is I question myself. and I do this a lot in my coaching programs because as women who are sick or chronically overweight with these kinds of health conditions, we have likely been suffering with these negative emotions for a very long time, and we have to face them. We don't want to push them away and push them down. We need to let them come up. We need to say, what is bothering me? Am I afraid that cancer is coming back? Is that what's bothering me? Is that making me afraid right now? If the answer is yes, I can question myself and I can say, well, is that true? Do I know that cancer is coming back for me? That answer is no. I can ask myself another question, which is, am I doing everything that I can do for myself to reduce my personal risk of cancer? Am I doing that? And if the answer is yes, then I can tell myself that today I'm okay. Today, the sun is gorgeous out. Today, the weather is beautiful. Today, everything is fine. Today, I'm on Chef AJ, and that's a lifelong dream of mine. Today, I helped someone. So these are the kinds of things that I can talk myself through them, these types of negative emotions. And that's one thing. That's a self-talking thing. But another thing that I did in the very beginning is that I still do now is I will go to yoga and I will purposely focus on my yoga to keep myself in the present and not from worrying about what's going to happen in the future or thinking about what happened in the past, because that's how you will get depressed when you think about things that happened in the past, and you will have anxiety and worry if you think about things in the future. But if I sit with my breath or my warrior or whatever I'm doing in a yoga class for an hour, then I am present and I am okay right now. I hope that answers your question. It's the kind of work that it's ongoing constantly. Thank you for asking that. All right, so I will put this in a bowl too so I can show you what that looks like.
Do you ever worry about your cancer coming back? Or are you just like, I'm done with it? It's not coming back to me.
Yeah, I really don't. Oh, I forgot to put in the bean sprouts. Hold on, we got to do the bean sprouts. I do not worry about it coming back because, like I said before, I am doing the most powerful things that there are to do to keep cancer keep cancer recurrence reduced. And the truth is if cancer comes back for me, then possibly there's some more story I have to live through it and tell. Because to be honest with you, I was not this person before I had cancer. I was very shy. I was very fearful. I was not social. I would never talk to people. I would never go on a Zoom. I would never try to teach people what I knew. And so the truth is that this breast cancer and this losing my breasts gave me the gift of veganism and this conviction in helping other people take back their health the way I have. And I would not have that if I did not have this cancer. So if cancer comes back for me, because the plant-based diet, it's not a cure for cancer. But it is the most powerful thing you can do to keep recurrence at bay. So if cancer comes back for me, then so be it. Then that means I have more story to tell and more to do.
Well, I like your attitude because I just found a new doctor the other day. I went to her not because I was sick, because my doctor left and I was looking for a new doctor and I haven't lived here very long. And, they did the usual thing. Oh, it's been a long time since your mammogram and your colonoscopy. And I'm like, look, I've been vegan for 43 years. I eat an A+ diet. I exercise 1 to 2 hours a day. There's nothing more I could do. And not that I want cancer. I don't believe I'm going to get it, even though a lot of people in my family died from it. I said, but I'm not going to do things any differently. And if I get it, I'll just go to True North, I'll fast, but I'm not going to sit there and worry about it every second because I don't do anything to bring it on. I try to think, not only do I eat clean, but I try to think clean because I think that's a really important part too.
The thing about the negative emotions that I learned that was in the book Radical Remission by Dr. Kelly Turner. That book, at the same time that I watched Forks Over Knives, an editor that I was working for handed me that book and said, you might like this. And I took that book and I was like, oh my gosh, I can do all 9 of these things that she's talking about. That book was so powerful. And 2 of the things, one was reducing negative emotions, and another one of the things was increasing positive emotions. And there's a big emotional element to cancer. So I took that to heart and I worked on, what I needed to work on. We know what it is. We have it in our hearts and our minds. We know. Yeah. So here is how the fried rice looks when we're all done.
Looks like a restaurant.
Yeah. And I like to put some everything but the bagel on this. So sesame seeds, right? I like to put that on there like that. It is so delicious. And again, this can be frozen. Both elements of this dish can be frozen. And this is seriously something that is so delicious. My husband begs me to make this at least every week. And the tofu scramble, we love to also eat in a pita. He likes to eat his on a everything bagel. My vegan husband is the best. He tries everything I test.
Did he go vegan the same time as you? Was it a difficult transition for him?
Oh, hell no. He went vegan about 1.5 years after I did. So when and it was really hard for me to do that by myself in the very beginning, but I knew that it was important for me. So what happened was I went to the Main Street Vegan Academy, and he pretty much knew that when I came back, I was going to be serious about this. I was going to be like more serious than ever. And it was becoming a sticking point in our relationship. And also in between the time that I was gone for the Main Street Vegan Academy, he had been to the doctor, and the doctor had told him he had high cholesterol. My husband is not overweight, not anything, but he does have heart disease and cancer in his family. So when he got that high cholesterol result, and he knew I was going to be serious when I came back, and he had watched these documentaries and he understood the medical evidence and his own risk for heart disease. And so when I came back, he said, I think I'm going to start eating what you're eating. And I was like, oh, thank God. And what really changed for him is taking him to some of the veg fests and teaching him about what's going on with the animals. And that really touched his heart. And now he is a giant animal activist, and he marches with me in the animal rights marches. He bears witness at the slaughterhouses. He has done a cube with me. And he is the force behind the vegan cooking and adventure retreats that we run together. Those are his brainchild. And he's the one who plans all of the hikes and the activities that we do on them. And so this has been a way for him to remake his life as well.
That's beautiful. And were your children moved by your experience? And no?
Unfortunately, no.
Really? I would think they might be scared because they're the same genetics as you.
Well, actually, I had a BRCA negative test, so there's no gene, and they're young adults right now, and they're all doing what they're doing. They really don't want to, me and my husband wear our vegan shirts. We're running vegan retreats. They know when they come here, it's going to be a vegan meal. They know that we won't go to regular restaurants. They know, but they're not 100% on board yet. But they do, they have respect for us so far. So hopefully, just by being the role model and modeling the good health and modeling what we love about veganism, hopefully it will end up brushing off on them eventually. Because that's all you can do. You can't, preach.
Do they like your food, though, when you serve it to them?
Yeah, they do. I make all kinds of bean burgers. They love my red lentil soup because it's, soft and delicious. I make a corn chowder. I make this fried rice stuff. They don't even know that there's nothing in the fried rice. They don't know.
Diane was saying that would also be good in a lettuce cup.
It would be delicious in a lettuce cup. Oh, yes, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I really admire your journey, and it's just such a great story.
I'm so happy that you allowed me to tell it on your channel today.
Well,
More the merrier.
It's an important one because, I up until 2 years ago when I moved to the desert, I still volunteer when there's not a pandemic doing pet therapy in a hospital. I specifically volunteered at the cancer center. And they don't have a clue about anything. I mean, other than drugs, and surgery. And I was never allowed to talk about it, but it's like I would sit there and they would bring the lunch and it was ham and cheese or egg salad on white bread with potato chips and soda. And, and if it did come with, my oncologist said my diet has nothing to do with anything. And that's what is believed, unfortunately.
It takes, I think it's criminal that doctors tell patients something that what was told to me, because it takes the power out of their hands. It lets them think that they're powerless and that there's nothing they can do. And I followed her protocols. So I'm talking about giving a patient the power to do whatever else they can also do. And I just think that when they tell patients there's nothing you can do, because they do the same thing about the blood pressure meds. They're like, oh, blood pressure, that's just normal as you age. You'll just need to take this medication for the rest of your life. That is false. That is 100% false, right? We know that. So I really feel so strongly about that. So it's hard when you go in the cancer center and you see that. And I remember what they served in the chemo room. They served cupcakes and cheese crackers and all kinds of stuff. And when I went back there and asked them, when I went back afterwards and I asked them, why don't they serve fruit? Why don't they serve other things? And they said, we want to help we want to make the patients feel better. And I'm like, by giving them things that cause their cancer? Come on, really? So,
well, I mean, even the food they serve just in the hospital in general is deplorable. And the fact that so many hospitals have McDonald's in the lobby is just criminal.
Criminal. The word is criminal. And I want to tell you, I do want to start getting more involved in what the heck is going on in Washington with the whole animal foods industry, and start to get more involved in that. With the making of the USDA guidelines, and also what happens with the farm subsidies and all of that stuff. I recently found out about a vegan lobbying group called the Agricultural Fairness Alliance that is fighting to reduce those subsidies for killing animals and for milk, when the demand for meat and milk has gone way, way, way down, but they're still killing the same amount of animals. They're still producing the same amount of milk. Isn't that crazy? Because they got big giant bailouts from all the money that's been coming out. So I want to get more involved in that somehow. That's next.
Oh, good. That's your passion. Thank goodness we have doctors like Dr. Christy Funk, who's a breast surgeon, who's making people aware. She'll be on the show, I think April, if I'm not mistaken.
That's wonderful, because there are very few breast cancer surgeons and oncologists who are doing that. Although I did go to see an integrative oncologist when I was recovering, because I was so angry at my regular oncologist. I searched someone out. I had to fly all the way to California to see her, but she encouraged me along my journey, following what was in the book, Radical Remission. She encouraged me with the whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating. She encouraged me with supplements that helped me recover from the cancer treatment when I was all depleted and bald and scarred up. And so the few doctors that are out there that are doing that work, just God love them.
I can't remember the name right now, but I had the producer director on the show, but there's a documentary about cancer that followed a bunch of people that did not take traditional treatment, including a young child. You'd probably love it.
Yeah. The one thing I want to be really clear about, though, is that if I had known what I know now, I might not have done the same thing, but I might have. I do believe if you have an aggressive cancer tumor that is invasive, that you should remove it. So I might have done the surgeries. It's possible that she saved my life, that oncologist that I don't like. It's possible that she saved my life, but I think that I have further saved my life with my lifestyle. So
right. No, I'm not telling people not to get traditional treatment, but this was you got to see the movie. It's a little bit different, but yeah. And then again, people should always seek medical care. I'm not saying not to do that, but also pay attention to what you eat and how you think and how you move. Is what I mean. So yes. Sherry says, do you remember the name of the oncologist in California that you flew out to see?
No, and she's moved twice since I've seen her. Oh yes, Dr. Heather Barrett, ND. And also she's an MD as well. That is why I saw her. She is an MD and an ND. She's both. And she specializes in breast cancer.
Thank
Heather
you.
Barrett, yeah.
Nice. Well, this was a beautiful presentation. The dish looks amazing. You look amazing. And thank you so much. You have to talk when you go like that so that they can make sure the Zoom catches it.
Oh, I didn't know that. I have to talk when it so the Zoom catches it. There it is.
Yeah.
So that's the fried rice. Here is the beautiful scramble. There's that.
It's like you cooked once, you eat many times.
That's my whole point. You should never just cook once and eat once. You should cook once and eat many times from it to really maximize your time in the kitchen.
That's why I'm teaching that upcoming boot camp for 2 hours, 4 hours with Tammy. You guys should sign up because we're going to make it a cook along now. Well, it's so nice to meet you, Naomi. And thank you so much for what you're doing now to educate people on being healthy, eating healthy. And I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was just a dream come true.
Oh.
Thank you.
Take care. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when we will have another wonderful graduate from the Main Street Vegan Academy. Take care, everybody, and be well, Naomi.
Bye.